Imagine a war where no bullets are fired, yet economies crash, fighter jets fall silent, and nations collapse. This war is happening now, not with bombs, but with silicon. This is the chip war. In 2025, the most powerful weapon isn't a missile. It's a microchip. From AI drones to smartphones, from military defense systems to cloud computing, one thing powers them all: semiconductors. The chip war is a global race to control the smallest, most powerful piece of technology ever made. This video is based on the best-selling book Chip War by Chris Miller. It breaks down the silent war over the world's most critical technology, chips. These tiny circuits power everything: phones, laptops, electric vehicles, AI models, fighter jets, and whoever controls chips controls the future. Chips are the brains of modern technology. Millions of transistors, packed into a space smaller than your fingernail. But the war for chips didn't begin with weapons, it began with ideas. In the 1950s and 60s, American engineers like Jack Kilby and Robert Noyce invented the integrated circuit. Moore's law predicted chip power would double every 2 years, and it did. In the beginning, chips powered Cold War missiles and NASA spacecraft. Soon, they were inside televisions, computers, and mobile phones. The US led the early era of chip design, with companies like Intel and Texas Instruments dominating the market. By the 1980s, the world realized that chips meant power. Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan made major investments in chip fabrication. And in the 1990s and 2000s, one company quietly took over global manufacturing: Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, or TSMC. TSMC became the world's #1 chip maker, manufacturing for Apple, Qualcomm, AMD, and Nvidia. Meanwhile, China began to pour billions into its semiconductor industry through the Made in China 2025 initiative, aiming for self-reliance in chip production. By the 2020s, chips had become the new weapon in a silent Cold War. The US placed export bans on Chinese firms like Huawei, restricting their access to advanced chips and essential design software. China responded by rapidly investing in its own domestic chip-making capacity. But it still depended heavily on critical tools and technology from the US, Japan, and the Netherlands. The most critical point in this global tension is Taiwan, an island that manufactures more than 90% of the world's most advanced chips. In 2025, the world's fastest chips used in artificial intelligence, defense, and data centers are produced only in Taiwanese and South Korean factories. They rely on machines from ASML in the Netherlands, designs from US firms, and materials from Japan. This year, the global chip crisis has hit again. AI demand has skyrocketed. Electric vehicles need thousands of chips each. Cloud computing, 5G networks, and defense systems are all fighting for limited chip supply, and supply simply cannot keep up.
India's real strength is in brainpower. For over 2 decades, Indian engineers have helped design the chips used by Intel, AMD, NVIDIA, Qualcomm, and Apple. Cities like Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Noida host some of the world's largest R&D centers for chip design and EDA tools. Companies like Cadence, Synopsys, ARM, and Mediatek all rely on India's engineers. Are world leaders in RTL verification, DFT, timing analysis, and post-silicon validation. Even though India doesn't fabricate 3nm chips yet, it helps design them. And that's power. In 2021, India launched Semicon India, and by 2025, construction is underway in Gujarat and Dholera. Micron is building a massive memory packaging and testing facility. Vedanta Foxconn is planning full-scale 28nm fabrication. Tata Electronics, Reliance, and HCL are also entering the space, from chip testing to semiconductor equipment assembly. India is also forming deep alliances. It's signing MOUs and agreements with TSMC, ASML, Renesas, and Tokyo Electron. India is positioning itself as a reliable, stable, and democratic alternative in the global chip supply chain. Why does this matter? The 2025 chip crisis shows us that the global chip supply is too concentrated. Most advanced manufacturing happens in just a few countries. India, with its political stability and skilled workforce, is becoming a critical alternative hub. India's strength will lie in three major areas: design and verification, packaging and testing, and mid-tier fabrication for automotive, IoT, and defense applications. By 2030, India may not lead in cutting-edge fabrication, but it aims to become a top 5 global contributor to the semiconductor ecosystem, not just as a factory, but as a center of talent, innovation, and geopolitical influence. The chip war is not just about companies or governments. It's about the next generation of engineers and thinkers. It's about students learning electronics, VLSI, and AI. Because this war won't be won with bombs, but with ideas, code, and circuits. China's startups like BioNTech, Cambrian, and Alibaba's T-Head are backed with billions to build AI chips and processors. But India's startups are rising too, like Steradian Semiconductors, Signal Chip, Sankhya Labs, Encore, Morphing Machines, Mindgrove, and Cyril Systems. India is still early in the race, but it's moving fast. It needs more than engineers, it needs innovators. More than job seekers, it needs creators. So if you're a student in electronics, AI, embedded systems, or chip design, this is your time. Learn Python with VLSI. Combine embedded systems with AI. Study EDA tools. Design your own logic circuits. Simulate your own processors. Every little thing you build today powers a nation's future tomorrow. In a world at war over transistors, don't be just a consumer. Be a creator. This is the chip war, and your journey starts now.